to, he was financing it. I was answering to Tom Rothman, the head of Columbia Pictures. And so it wasn't a committee, it was him. So we had an issue, we talked about it and whatever. And I want to be a good partner, so I'm listening to him, but I'm not going to, stab my movie in the balls.
Was there some stuff in that movie that he thought was not appropriate or not too dangerous?
More like he would wince at stuff. He goes, Quentin, they're going to go after you for this. Well, that's okay. I can handle it. I'm trying to help you, man.
But it's not helping you, right? Ultimately.
I know what he means.
Yeah.
All right. I know what he means. And what I'd rather not have to deal with controversy of the first week the movie comes out. And so that's what everybody's talking about as opposed to the movie. No, that would be counterproductive. I don't care if they talk about it later. Just maybe not the first fucking week.
But your films, they have to have controversy. There's just no way. It's just
no
one's going to agree on everything you do.
Well, also but there's also this. There's also like, okay, there's real controversy, and then there's like, okay, this guy or this woman is going to write a think piece in the New Yorker. About my movie, or in the Los Angeles Times, or in the New York Times, and they're going to write some think piece about it, or on this website or that website, and they're going to go against it and talk about, this is a retrograde vision, or that this is a regressive vision. Or Quentin has become right wing, and this movie has a right wing bent because of the way they, Quentin is identifying with Rick Dalton with fucking hippies. That's how it's.
Is that really a take that someone had you've become right wing because of a character in a film?
Even like a critic who liked it, A.O. Scott, goes, well, this whole vision seems more on the right than you would imagine for Quentin Tarantino. I mean, it doesn't necessarily make it wrong, make it bad, but it just seems like more on the right. Well, Rick is coming from a place more on the right, not me.
Yeah.
Per se, but I am telling the story through Rick's point of view. And then they say something, well, how come they don't talk about, how come there aren't more black characters in the movie? How come they don't talk about the Vietnam War more? Well, basically the movie takes place between 2 days. Okay, well, they didn't bump into Jim Brown right on those 2 days. All right, they saw who they fucking saw. Yeah. During those 2 days. Well, they didn't have a conversation about Vietnam in those 2 days. I can't just deal with all the hot button issues if I'm set up in a thing between 2 days. Oh, Margaret Robbie doesn't talk enough. She spends the entire movie by her fucking self. I could have given her if you were just counting lines, I could have put Mr. Saperstein in the car, with her dog, and she could have just been having a running commentary with her dog about picking up Roman's dry cleaning and getting the book, and maybe I'll go see the movie. And that would have actually taken care of the line count, but it would have been bullshit.
Right. It doesn't seem like part of the problem is just that it came out during the time where Trump was president, and like that's one of the reasons why these political takes on things, like that he's more to the right, or like I can't imagine that anybody would think that you're leaning right now, that Quentin is becoming right because your character is. That seems so stupid, but it's more of it's just a statement about the politicalization of everything.
Well, I think you're right. I think you're correct. And the thing about it, though, is, look, those kind of like academic college think pieces, they're just fine. Like in a college situation, they make sense. I can take a book or a movie and come up with some argument that goes, that's like that's more of a subtextual argument about a film. That doesn't mean I'm right, but it means I can make my little argument,
right?
For the course. But it doesn't. But I have no illusions that that's what the director was thinking about. Now, ultimately, when it comes to subtextual criticism, it doesn't matter. It's simply you making your little case. But in the heat of the moment, they're actually treated more seriously than that.
How do you parse out when you have experienced criticism about a film? Do you go over that criticism? Do you read it, or do you just get to a point where you're like, you know what, I know what I did, I love what I did, I don't give a fuck?
Well, I like to write film criticism, so I can take it with a grain of salt. One, if I know who they are. All right, then I have a sense of where they're coming from and what they're talking about. But like within 3 paragraphs, I see what this guy or woman is coming from, and they either like my stuff or they don't like it.
Right.
And if they're inclined to like my stuff and they go negative on it, that's interesting to see what it is that did that. I mean, a lot of the critics that like me didn't like Hateful Eight. And it all came down to the fact that it was just too rough a vision for them. It was just too cynical. It was too cruel. And that's one of my favorite movies because I feel like, wow, that's the Sam Peckinpah movie I always wanted to make. It's a fucking cruel, pitiless vision. But it's called The Hateful Eight. The idea is there's no good guys in the movie.
Yeah.
They're all fuckers.
Yeah. And well, that's
except for the stagecoach driver. He's not. That's why he's 9. He's not part of the Hateful Eight.
But it's one of your best movies, and it's a great example of a Tarantino movie in that there is no good.
Yeah.
It's all bad guys, and it's still incredibly enjoyable.
That's how I think. Yeah.
And chaos.
And so when so I actually kind of took it as a badge of honor that the people who like my movies, they didn't say they didn't like this, but it was just too rough for them.
Yeah.
And it was like I think A.O. Scott, who's always been a pretty good champion of mine, he said something in the fact that, well, Tarantino's playing with racism and is playing with racism and misogyny and gruesomeness, and there's really no way you can do that and keep your hands clean.
That's a good way to put it.
It is a good way to put it. And I was like, who wants clean hands?
Yeah. Yeah.
I make Hateful Eight to get them dirty.
Right. You're in the wild movie business.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's no clean hands in the wild movie business.
Yeah.